The education you developed in school has set you up to fail. It has made you less creative, impaired your decision making, and force fed chemical formulas down your throat that you or I didn't need at all. And in the modern day and age, if you don't become self educated or if you don't develop an anti education, you're actually miles behind everyone else. And you're gonna lose big time. Now, the concept of an anti-education, it actually comes from this modern philosopher, and I know we are mentioning a lot about him. I don't know if you're following this series, you know that we are borrowing a lot from him in this series, and his name is Nassim Taleb, and talks about anti-education, and he says that because the whole concept that we are following in this series is that a lot of the things that the education system has trained you for are actually they're counterintuitive. They don't work in the real world. And they are limiting you instead of enabling you to do great things. And you have to develop an anti-education. That means that you have to be able to look past that, look at that, and then develop and look past those things which have actually damaged you. And by the way, this is not something that we're talking about in the 21st century, and it's like it's happening right now. You find people like Mark Twain, you find people back then like Einstein and all these other great people in any field, and you see that they were all autodidacts. And autodidacts are people who are self-educated. And we're going to talk more about how you can become an autodidact in our next video podcast. But right now, let's talk about anti-education and how do you develop it. Now, welcome to our series on why the education system is setting you up to fail. You're watching TruthQuest, and my name is Armughan. And today we are discussing how to develop an anti-education. Now, there's this fallacy that in his book Skin in the Game, Nassim Taleb mentions, and he says that he mentions that there was this trader who actually traded lumber, and he actually made millions using it. And there was this other guy who actually wanted to become a trader as well, trading lumber. So what this other guy did, he's actually starting out. He doesn't know what green lumber is, and by the way, let me clarify that green lumber is a form of lumber that is freshly cut. So they call it green lumber. And this trader, he goes on and he finds out everything that there is about green lumber and where do you get it and where you trade it and where you sell it, and like every minute thing there is to know about green lumber. And then he trades and he fails, just doesn't make it, just loses his money or something. While on the other hand, the guy who's actually making millions trading green lumber, when he was interviewed, he said that, I actually thought green lumber was green. It was painted green or something. I mean, the guy is trading this thing and he's making a lot of dollars on it, and he doesn't even know that the lumber is it's not green. So the point is, it's called he calls it the green lumber fallacy. And the point is that the game is learned to be played from the inside, not the outside. There are a lot of people, a lot of intellectuals. They're very knowledgeable. They'll give you everything. They'll cite philosophers like what philosopher should I name? In fact, I'm not gonna name anyone because that's not good. So they'll cite all these different sources and all these different research articles, and they've written like 50 research articles, and they've done 10 PhDs and whatnot. I mean, God help those people. So they've done all these things, but guess what? They're like in this thing is that all they have is this kind of knowledge that is actually not, they don't have the knowledge of how to play the game. They're good at talking about the game. And this is where I'm pointing at, is that in the education system, in the academia, a lot of the skills that you're taught are talking skills. You become good at talking about stuff. For example, if you're studying economy, you'll become good at talking about economy. Become good at not even predicting, but you'll become good at predicting the economy and stuff like that. But you'll not actually become good at you're not actually become economically smart or any of that sense, or you're not actually become a good investors. And this is actually a problem that business people have with economists. And business people, they think they are actually, they're investors, they're in the game, they're playing the game. Economists, they just go on and they read about stuff and all that. It actually, even we're going to cite this, we're going to talk about this concept. Is Indian American entrepreneur Naval Ravikant. He actually goes on to say that you're actually becoming dumber by reading them, by reading these articles that these economists write. That because you're burning neurons. They are not actually giving you anything good. And another thing is about general knowledge, and that also relates to the green number fallacy, is that anything that is out there, anything that is publicly out there, it's not going to work. And Nassim, he was a trader, and he learned this in trading world, that the first 15 pages of any report, any newspaper written, they are actually, it's don't forget about it, because it's not actually gonna work. It's Everybody has read them, everybody knows them, so they're of no use. That is true with education itself, because first, the things that you're being taught about are not real world skills in that sense. Secondly, they're outdated. They're general, they're vague, and a lot of people know them, so you're no advantage of knowing them. You're at zero advantage. In fact, as Nawal said, you're actually becoming dumber by actually reading about these things. They're not going to do you any good in the real world skills. For example, you might know a lot about the climate, the weather, and okay, tilt of the earth, and this happens and that happens, and you might know a lot about that. But guess what? When there's a storm and you're stuck in the or anything else, like, yes, you're good at citing about this when somebody asks, and you can give a lot of theories and all that. But would that make you a good meteorologist, or would that make you a good in a real world situation? I don't think so. So with that said, skills at doing are not equal to skills at talking. And the education system, academia, it might make you good about talking. It might make you good in talking about the different things. It might give you a lot of different facts to remember. But most of them, they are TBU facts. And a TBU fact, it's true but useless. Fact is completely true, but it's useless. Like, where am I going to use it in the real world? Where am I going to use it and build something great or build something good in my life? Yes, I know about it, and that's great, but knowledge itself is, if you know about a lot of things, that I don't think if that's something to boast about at all. And I know, because people do. But okay, look at me, I know about this, I've read this and this and this and this. If you've read a million books, but you're not intelligent, you don't know how to apply that knowledge that you're reading in those books, or you're not actually wise, that's one step ahead of intelligence as well. You've wasted your time. You've actually wasted your time, because you have not gained from that. And by the way, if you've read only 100 books in your life, but you've read them again and again, and you've actually become intelligent, and you actually apply that, you, my friend, have actually utilized the knowledge that you've learned on. So it's not about knowledge because Google has the most knowledge. Does that mean it's the most intelligent thing on earth? I don't think so. So, again, I'm going to use a word here, that it's not about intellectual masturbation. It's all about real world knowledge. It's not about, just I've been part of these things. I've been guilty of it as well, that you sit around and you actually, intellectually, you are doing that. You are stimulating your mind and you are doing all these things. But the real world knowledge is actually completely different from that. And now, before we move ahead and I talk about the other point, if you have not subscribed to my newsletter called Truth Thursdays, where every Thursday I send out bite-sized wisdom for you to become a better human being. The link to do that is in the description below. Go down, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in your inbox, and it's great. So go ahead and subscribe, and I'm going to see you there. So with that said, I think the final point of developing an anti-education is categorize between general and specific knowledge. General knowledge is about a few things. You memorize the list of continents, and you memorize the list of different things, but you memorize the list of TBU facts, true but useless facts. And actually, Einstein was once asked, like, what is the speed of sound in air or something? I actually looked at the reporter and he said, why are you asking that to me? It's written in books. You can read it from here. I don't have to remember that. I don't have to keep that here. And Sherlock even one-upped Einstein in one of the novels. Sherlock's sidekick, Dr. Watson, he was actually very confused. You're like, Sherlock, you're such an amazing, you're like, your brain works amazingly fast and you're good at deductive, but you don't know that the earth goes around the sun. You don't know about the solar system. And he actually didn't know. And it was like, wow, it's like, and he said, like, why do I have to stuff useless information over here that is actually not going to do me any good at all? And actually, Sherlock has a point, because what is he going to do with that? His work doesn't require him to know that. Although if he does know that, that's going to be good, because that's basic. But still, again, if you don't know it, it's completely good. It's completely great. So that is general knowledge. Specific knowledge is what Sherlock has. Sherlock has specific knowledge. He knows how to go to a crime scene and deduce everything and catch the killer. That's all he needs. That's his job. And by the way, specific knowledge is something that is true to yourself, and that is, by definition, it cannot be taught to other people. Because if we can put a classroom in and we can teach this to a lot of different people, that means that it's not specific anymore, it's general. Like, for example, you cannot create another Elon. He has this whole mission that is true for himself, and someone might come along and build better rockets or stuff, but his mission is his mission. Or you cannot overthrow Joe Rogan's podcast, or you cannot create another Sherlock or another Einstein. Yes, they're different people, right? And they're different people, and plus they are great at what they did. And what they did is unique to them. And so this is what specific knowledge is, and you cannot be taught this in a classroom, in a course, anywhere. It's actually only found by pursuing your best interest. And Naval has a great explanation. Go ahead, listen to his entire podcast. I think it's 3 hours long, and it is how to, I think it is how to get wealthy or something like that. Just go listen to it. First, so if you want to find specific knowledge, the education system is not going to train you. It's going to train you on things which are outdated, not going to help you. It is found by pursuing your innate talent, genuine curiosity, and interests. So it's all about being you. So you found you pursue them, and that is how you gain specific knowledge. Now the other part is that specific knowledge often feels like play. It feels like play to you. So that is also very important, that and building specific knowledge is what you should do in the modern age of self-education. And how you do that, how you're going to do that, we're going to talk about that in the next video podcast. So today you just realize that specific knowledge is key, not general knowledge. And be careful of the green lumber fallacy. And I'm going to see you in the next one, where we discuss how you can self-educate yourself. Until the next one, take care. If you have enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to watch this video on my side. It also relates to physics, philosophy, and personal development. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Continue seeking truth and become a truth seeker.